Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm just going to skip the fancy lighting today. I've got some pretty nice natural light. I want to talk about you realizing your career goal, but also in the bigger context of you achieving your goals behind the goals. And I want to look at what a path of someone who's successful looks like and the path of someone who's not successful looks like. And I want to show you how, no matter where you are on that path, you can find out where you are and then make the shift if you need to make the shift to being successful. So I want to actually jump into one of my readers' messages. So I'll just jump into some messages that I've been having with people. And if you're not interacting with me one-on-one through chat, I recommend you do, because you can get some really helpful advice on your career prospects and resolve some pretty challenging issues in your life just if you ask that question. Now, it doesn't have to be with me, but I am somebody who does this professionally, focusing on helping like early career professionals to be that professional, to especially make that shift from being a student to being a professional, and having an amazing life and enjoying that life maybe even more than what it was when you were a student. So I'm going to jump into one of the messages today and talk about that. And it's going to be amazing. So stick around. Let me just jump in and open that up right now. So here is the message. And so, yes, get hired into a large global firm is my goal. And I believe it is almost every international student's goal. I feel so appreciative that you said you were happy to help me with job hunting during this hard time. Unfortunately, and honestly, I didn't have a summer 2021 internship, so I'm focusing on looking for fall co-op opportunities and a 2022 full-time position. I have applied. This is the key part here, okay? I have applied to some large global companies based in the US, but it's like a big competition. Unfortunately, my resume and my experiences didn't stand out during this competition. Then I was trying to look for referring, but I do not have a strong network. I'm really lost right now. So recently I was focusing on editing my resume. So here is, I think, a situation that is like a universal uh, theme that we experience, is that we want to go for the most transformative experience. We can all dream, right? People who are successful dream, people who are not successful dream. That's easy to do. The question is, are we going to take steps to achieve that dream? And so here's where I think we then might, the paths might diverge. So we're going to have the people who are successful and the people who are not successful. So the people who are successful and those who are unsuccessful are going to become aware of what their challenges are or their difficulties, but then they're going to do two very different things. So the people who are unsuccessful, what they're going to do is they're going to see those challenges. My resume is not competitive. They're going to say my experience is not competitive, or my networks are not strong enough, and therefore I'm confused. And then I'm just going to go back to revising my resume. So as you might know, and maybe you're one of those people, you go back to revise your resume, you're stuck, right? You don't know what else to do with the resume, to tweak it. What? The successful person in this situation is also going to take stock of what their challenges are. They're going to maybe see that, okay, maybe their resume isn't getting the response that they want, or their experience might not be the most competitive experience out there, or that they don't have a network. Okay. Now, instead of getting stuck, what these people are going to do is they're going to put that on their list of things that they're going to learn how to master. They're going to learn how to solve those problems. The issue with my resume, the issue with my experience, and the issue with my network. I am going to do things in such a way so I'm going to do things in such a way such that my resume is not an issue. I'm going to do things in such a way such that my experience is not an issue, or lack of experience. And I'm going to do things in such a way that I get that network. So I'm going to put those things on my calendar to learn, and then I'm going to go out and I'm going to find resources. I'm going to engage in discussions. I'm going to research. I might even want to find a coach and have that coach work with me and take things step by step so that I can master each one of those and get that job. It's easy for the successful and the unsuccessful person to dream. We're all going to dream. I'm going to dream. You're going to dream. But then what happens when we hit those obstacles? What are we going to do? The unsuccessful person will just stop. They're going to see their resume is not getting responses. They're going to stop eventually. They're going to burn out. They're going to go into a depression spiral. They're going to, or they're maybe going to blame their experience or their lack of a network, and they're going to stop. They're not going to make progress. The successful person, on the other hand, that's going to be their starting point for action. So let's just take a look at some of the ways in which the successful path can be realized here. And the first thing, we'll just take it through that same set of comments that my friend was talking to me with me about her challenges. And there are subsequent messages that we've had, and well, she's starting to see that, well, there might be a path through. And so what does that path through look like? Well, first of all, obstacle number one, resume. The resume is not strong enough. It's very competitive. You know what I say? Don't compete on the basis of resume. See that the job that you want is a matter of not being your resume getting hired, but you as a person getting hired, the whole person. People hire people, not resumes or GPAs or your legal status. So you can see how there's a path beyond the obstacle, which is my resume is not good enough because, well, to begin with, no one hires you ever just for your resume. That's why you have interviews. Number two, experience. My experience is not strong enough. So the unsuccessful person there would stop. The successful person would say, what is it, what can I do now to move beyond this obstacle of a lack of experience? And in any kind of area of expertise or area of excellence, now how do you move into that excellence? Is it always by having expertise? Well, every hiring manager that you're going to speak to, and when I was a hiring manager, I was the same. I started with no experience. And so there is a path which is, hey, I've done this before and I'm a great candidate for this role. Then there's the path which is leading to success, which is I'm going to research. And through research, I'm going to learn what it is that this role calls for. I'm going to have lots of conversations with people, and I'm going to become so informed on this topic and speak with enough people that I'm going to emerge as the expert myself through research and not through prior experience. So the unsuccessful person, whereas they would have stopped and said, okay, my experience is not good enough, they would have been having these internal dialogues that are really just beating themselves up. The successful person is going to say, okay, how do I move beyond a lack of experience? And maybe it's watching this video, or maybe it's some other lucky break which informs them that not only is experience one path to getting hired, but research and learning. And the research and learning that I'm talking about is not more book learning. It's not more university study. That got you here. That helped you get this current platform that you might have now. But what we're talking about here is through developing relationships, through talking with people, and especially talking with people who can hire you. So that brings us to the third item here, which is the lack of a network. So what do we do when we have a lack of a network? Well, let me just tell you that the unsuccessful person, they see the lack of network and they give up, they stop. And the successful person sees the lack of network and then they go build the network. Now, I'm going to reveal something here that has never been revealed before, and I think it's going to be really helpful for you to hear this now. Executives, American, Asian, South American, even executives don't have sufficient networks at the time when they need them most. And when do they need them most? When they lose their jobs. And so what do they have to do? They have to go out and experience that lack. And well, most of the time, they have so much pressure behind them, like a family or a mortgage, that they have to figure it out. They have that necessity. So what do? They go build their network. So Same thing applies to us when we're in that early stage of our careers. We go and build that network. We see that we lack a network. We see that our referrals are not getting us to where we want to go. And so we make a change. We learn what we need to know. Now, I will just drop here some important information on top of that example of executives, that your network can be composed of two kinds of people. We can have the people who are the juniors, right? The recent grads, the ones that you're probably most familiar and comfortable speaking to. And then we're going to have the hiring managers. And those are the people that have the authority to hire you, which you actually probably don't feel comfortable communicating with, and you have not really done much of that. And so when it comes down to networking and having a network, you're either going to decide, I'm going to give up, or I'm going to go build my network. And then you're going to decide further, I'm going to build my network of not only junior people, which are very nice to speak with and easy to access, but I'm also going to speak with the executives, the decision makers in these firms who have the authority to hire me. And the reason why both types of network are valuable is, one, you can get information, and two, you can get interviews and offers. You can get those strong referrals. Referrals are more akin to trust in you. So a referral that's strong is actually meaning that somebody internally with authority trusts you. And so facing a lack of a network, what are you going to do? We're going to just roll over and give up, or are we going to go out and build that network? And with whom are we going to build it? Or are we going to get stuck or stop at the networking we do with junior people, leading to weak referrals? Or are we going to systematically develop a method of speaking with strangers who are older and maybe more experienced than us, and develop those relationships? The reason why this is something to master now is because think about what your goal is. Your goal is to get hired. You're most likely not yet in contact with the hiring manager who will ultimately hire you. They are a stranger to you as you are to them at this moment, but at some point you hope that changes. Now, what would precipitate or cause that change? Well, it would be you coming into contact with that senior executive, with that hiring manager. And so you can ask yourself, do I want that event to be something that I control and have influence over or not? And frankly, for most of us out there in the job hunt, we give up that control, or we fail to take control. In other words, we apply online and wait for things to happen in our lives, and they never do. The alternative is to systematically develop our network among the people we know we eventually want to be talking to every day. We know who's likely a stranger now. We have that power. We can make that choice. I'm going to pick who I reach out to, and I'm going to get to know them. And the point here is just get started. Now, if you want tips and the step-by-step exact way to do that, I'm here for you. My program, the Career Accelerator program, is a masterclass in how to ace networking. And I'm not going to tell you that as soon as you jump into the program, boom, you're going to be instantly brilliant at it. You got to go do it, right? And you got to go and you got to get the templates, you got to get the exact scripts, and we got to work on them together. And we got to have a networking meeting. We got to have that first one. We got to send out those messages. And probably your first one doesn't necessarily result in an offer, right? That's okay though, right? We experience this, we figure it out, we do it again, we figure it out. Before you know it, not only have you mastered networking for life, you also have this amazing job. And the amazing thing about networking is that executives, like I said, they don't know how to do it. And the people that you will be networking with, hopefully, they most definitely don't understand networking themselves. And so it's up to us to define it. And that is the most awkward aspect of networking, is everyone's walking around saying networking, but no one's defining exactly what that is. Well, within the Career Accelerator program, we define that exactly. And we define it from the perspective of the hiring managers, those same hiring managers who have lost their jobs. How do they eventually get a job? What kind of networking are they doing? Well, it turns out that networking that they're doing is the kind of networking that successful people everywhere want to be doing. And that's developing trust with the people that matter most and getting them to vouch for you, getting them to advocate for you. So to kind of bring this first full circle here, we have these two paths that people travel. One is the successful path, one is the unsuccessful path. We're all going to run into the same challenges. We're all going to run into situations where we don't have this, we lack this, or something is not good enough. And those of us that are unsuccessful, we're going to see those and we're going to give up, we're going to stop. And that's going to lead to depression. That's going to lead to going to another graduate program or whatever people do to avoid the pain that they feel. And ultimately, that means that they don't, at least at this stage, realize their potential. Now, maybe in the future, this plants a seed that 5 or 10 years from now, they do figure these things out. But what about figuring this out today, in this lifetime, in this month, in this next couple of weeks or days? We can do this. So the successful person will come across those same obstacles and they will systematically lay them out and then work through them, put them on their calendar, find resources, find a coach, and work through them and build mastery in those exact same areas where they felt they were weak. And as a result, they will achieve their dreams, they will achieve their goals. And not only this time, there are going to be many times in your life when you're going to come across something that you haven't encountered before. And it's going to be a matter of, do I get stuck and stop, or do I see these as opportunities? And one of the great books that I've been reading now is called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I definitely recommend you check that out. And it is this concept from philosophy called Stoicism that began in ancient Greece, whereby we see these obstacles as opportunities. We don't get thrown off our course when something comes in our way and pulls us up. We don't stop. We find ways to move forward. And kind of an important undercurrent in that is we don't identify too strongly with the situation. If we experience a rejection, we have the option. Oh, this is me. This is my rejection. I'm terrible. Or we have this other approach, which is, there was this event of a rejection. What can I learn from this event? And there's just a little bit less attachment involved in that. And that's more relating to the mindset of the job hunt, which we are very much care about in the Career Accelerator program. But hey, I just wanted to just discuss these two paths, the successful path, the unsuccessful path. What's the path leading to success? And I wanted to share this friend's LinkedIn message with everybody, because her path is everyone's path. Her challenge is the universal challenge. And it specifically relates to the job hunt for international students. And that's why I wanted to share that with you. So all for now, I look forward to seeing your comments below and interacting with you on LinkedIn and YouTube. Wherever we are together, I look forward to interacting with you and helping you move forward and achieve your goals.